A long time ago in England, there lived a king named King James. King James was very bossy, and he would say things like, "Everyone do what I say,
Everyone do what I say,
or you go to jail."
or you go to jail.
King James had one rule that many people did not like. That rule was,
Everyone go to my church, or you go to jail.
there were lots of people in England who did not like King James's rule, especially his rule about going to his church. Two of them were Sarah and Stephen Hopkins. They said, "We don't want to go to his church,
We want to go to church,
but we don't want to go to jail."
but we don't want to go to jail.
So Sarah and Stephen and some others came up with a plan. They decided to escape to Holland. So one night they gathered up all their things and they snuck out of their house to go to Holland. 3.
They're escaping. Go.
So the king's guards went after them. After a while they came back and said,
Too late, they got away.
Sarah and Stephen made it to Holland, but they missed their home in England. They missed their friends and family. While they were in Holland, they met an explorer. He asked them if they heard about the new land. They said, "No, we haven't.
No, we haven't.
You could make a new England.
You can make a new England.
They're Indians.
They're Indians.
We don't know if they're nice.
We don't know if they're nice.
Do you want to go?"
Do you want to go?
And Sarah and Stephen said,
Yes.
The explorer told them it's a long trip
It's a long trip
across the ocean.
across the ocean.
Do you still want to go?
Do you still want to go? Yes. Yes.
So Sarah and Stephen went back to England to get ready to go to the new land. Sarah and Stephen and their friends got a boat called the Speedwell, and they were ready to set sail. They said, "Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
We're going to the new land."
We're going to the new land.
And they started off. They hadn't gone very far when the captain said,
No, we have to go back. We have a leak.
so they went back to England and they called a repairman. And they asked the repairman, they said, "Can you fix our boat?"
Can you fix our boat? Yes.
So the repairman hammered and nailed on their boat. And then he said, "Your boat is fixed."
This is the leak.
Well, they set sail again. And they hadn't gone very far when the captain said,
Oh no, we have to go back. We have a leak.
so they went back to England and they called the repairman. They said, "Can you fix our boat?"
Can you fix our boat?
So the repairman worked again. Then he said, "Your boat is fixed." And they set sail again. They hadn't gone very far when the captain said,
Oh no, we have to go back. We have a leak.
so they went back a third time and they called the repairman.
Can you fix our boat?
And this time the repairman said, "No, I can't fix your boat.
I can't fix your boat.
You need a new boat."
You need a new boat.
Once the Pilgrims had a new boat called the Mayflower, they set sail. They said, "Goodbye, everyone."
Bye, everyone.
It was a long trip. Every morning when the kids woke up for breakfast, they said, "Mom and Dad, what's for breakfast?"
Let's move up it.
And the mom and dad said,
Peas, barley, water.
oh, the kids were not very happy. And then they would say, "Mom and Dad, what's for lunch?"
Mom and Dad, what's for lunch? Peas, corn, barley, water.
Oh, the kids were so not excited to eat the same thing. That night they asked, "What's for dinner?"
What's for dinner? Corn, peas, barley, water.
It was a long trip. Near the end of their trip, something amazing happened. Sarah had a baby boy. She named him Oceanus. One day after Oceanus was born, the sailors said, "Land ho!"
Land ho!
They had reached the new land. Everyone got off the boat and cheered. They all said,
Yay!
Once the pilgrims were all on the new land, the sailors said, "We're going back to England.
We're going back to England.
Are you sure you don't want to come?"
Are you sure you don't want to come?
And the pilgrims said,
Yes.
"Yes, we're sure." So they said, "Goodbye, sailors."
Goodbye, sailors.
And the sailors went back to England. The pilgrims hurried and built cabins to keep them sheltered from the winter, but it was very cold and they were very hungry. But the pilgrims were not alone. Someone was watching them. There was an Indian named Squanto. Squanto said, "Should I help them?
Should I help them?
I don't know if they're nice.
I don't know if they're nice.
I'll keep watching."
I'll keep watching.
So Squanto watched the pilgrims all winter. When spring came, the pilgrims were so excited. They were ready to start planting. Squanto decided to come and help the pilgrims. He walked over to the pilgrims and he said, "My name is Squanto.
My name is Squanto.
Can I help you?"
Can I help you?
And the pilgrims said,
Yes.
3.
We will show you how to fish.
The Indians showed the pilgrims how to catch fish.
I got one.
After the pilgrims watched the Indians, they tried fishing also. With some practice, they were able to catch some fish.
We will show you how to play.
In no time at all, they had all the seeds planted. When the plants were all grown, the pilgrims and Indians said, "Let's work together to harvest."
Let's work together to harvest.
And they all helped to pick the fruits and vegetables that they had grown.
That's a food. Let's have a feast.
They worked together to get the feast ready.
I put down one. What are these called? If they were all done, I don't know. Oh, they're called.
When the feast was all ready, they decided to invite everyone.